Go for it.
We're gone?
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Takatani. I'm here with Jeremy Rooks. We're going to introduce our guest in a minute. We're at the National Youth Duels, Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is now called the Arvest Convention Center. It was the Cox Convention Center. A guy that really doesn't need an introduction. Called in some favors. I knew he was going to be stuck here in Tulsa. I was like, Coach, I promised him an Uber ride back.
Yeah, I got that. I got that covered. No problem. No problem.
Actually, the only reason he's doing it, he likes my mom and dad a lot.
Yes.
I told him, I said, don't make my mom call you and ask to go on the show.
That's right. Well, shout out to the Takatanis.
Yeah.
Great people. Your parents are great
They're
people.
the best.
Love them.
Awesome
Ron
people.
and Jan. So this is Nate Carr, three-time national champion, Olympic bronze medalist, RTC coach, doing all kinds of different things at Iowa State.
Yes, helping the Cyclones.
So first of all, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
I was next to you about a week and a half ago. I was lucky enough to be in the pit when, and we're going to start with that. So your son wrestles Takatani.
Yes.
We got to talk about a little bit off the air. I just got the chance to shake your hand at the meet. Let's talk about the match, just from a wrestling standpoint. When you break, first of all, you obviously game plan. That's like an MMA fight. There's just one match. It's not like a tournament, right?
Yes. Well, first, David has to focus on what he's good at, and then, watch Takatani and see what he does well, what leg he leads with. We knew that most of the times that he gets taken down, it was to his left leg. So, we observed that, his reshots, his best shots. We went through all of that. Courtesy of USA Wrestling, so we...
Shout out to USA Wrestling,
yeah. We had scout, and then, of course, my nephew, Joe Jr., always does scouting reports to us. So he'll watch it, and then he'll send us a list of what to watch, what to look forward to, and, what he does best.
How much does David like to break down film versus having you do it for him?
So when he, like in 8th grade, David wrestled in Kentucky, won the 8th grade state championships. I let him go with my brother, Joe, and then his son, Joe Jr., and they're great coaches. And I knew what he would learn. I knew what they would teach him, and that's one of the things. And so he's really good. Jumped, levels just being with him, then came back, and then won 4 Ohio State championships. But shout out to them. Maslin Perry, shout out to them.
We had them in Hall of Fame duels this year.
And Joe Jr., they did a good job.
Yeah. So breaking down film reminds me, like my dad, super technical, 8th degree black belt in different martial arts. And my mom used to bring that big camera, like sitting on your shoulder. So one shoulder of her is about 2 inches lower than the other one. And they would, you plug in the VHS, and my dad would say to us, all right, watch it. And then he'd go, okay, now watch it again, and tell me what you did wrong. And then he would then tell you what you did wrong. And if you're lucky, you got one thing right. But I love the process. So, okay, so let's talk about that match. When maybe just the reaction on both sides after. Let's talk about Takatani, because you and I talked off air. How he handled himself afterwards and how that's a part of that culture is unbelievable, right?
Yeah, just really calm. I was watching him warm up, just really stretching well. You just sensed that he was definitely in control, nice guy. He was talking to us beforehand, and you could tell that it's more than competition. It's a lifestyle. And I think you could see that with how he came out, excited. It's almost like watching, what is it? The Gladiator movie. Yeah. And the Gladiator guy says, "Are you not entertained?" So anyways, it looked like he came out hard to compete and then weigh the results in peace.
Say that again, Coach, because you said that to him.
Yeah, just to go all out and weigh the results in peace, right? But the key is to go as hard as you can. When you go hard as you can, nobody can say anything to you. Now, from there, it's about making the adjustments to get better. I always say the reason ships sink is because they let what's on the outside get on the inside. The reason people sink,
that's beautiful.
The reason people sink is because they let what's on the outside get on the inside. And when you watch Takatani, definitely he was there to have fun. And just because he lost, you could tell it didn't affect him personally. People that do well, you could say, for a fancy word, Panglossian. Panglossian is a highly optimistic person. They always see the glass half full. So when you respond that way, it's easy to get better. You can never personalize your failure. People that can do that, they definitely end up winning. So that's important.
I just thought, like, you know, he's going in the stands, he's taking selfies, he's signing autographs, and I'm sure he didn't want to lose, right? Like, I mean,
That's right.
He's an Olympic silver medalist. Scored more points on Dake than probably 5 years worth of people had done.
Yes.
You know, coming off that high, comes into enemy territory. It's probably the only time in David's career he got cheered in Iowa City.
Right, with Iowa fans, for sure. I think he was shocked with all the signings, Iowa signatures, but I guess it was USA versus whatever.
Yeah, the flag takes over. Right? If we get to it, there's a great Tom Brands, Nate Carr, Las Vegas parking lot story that happened. You remember that when we were out front?
No.
Okay, all right, I'm going to tell it. So we're walking out.
Oh, my goodness.
You didn't do anything wrong. Nobody did anything wrong. I wouldn't do that. My mom's watching, so it's going to be very good. So we're walking out, and I see Brands, and I go, "Hey, Coach," and he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "I like you." He goes, "I respect you." He goes, "Those other guys you hang out with," he goes, "I don't know. But you," he goes, "We should have lunchtime. It'll be fine." And you go, "Okay, Coach, God bless."
Well, that's a good answer. That's a good story.
That's awesome.
I remember now.
I know.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was
great.
great.
The match was intense.
Yeah.
So
what's next?
Understatement.
Yeah. So let's go backwards. I think a lot of people, and I think this is a compliment to you. You've done such a great job, and Kevin Dresser and Metcalf and St. John and all those guys with David. That people think of you. Some younger people think of you as David's father. The rest of us know, like, you were an OG before he was an OG. Like, you were that guy. 3 national titles in a weight class that was stupid good. You and Kenny Monday. And then Olympic medalist.
Yes.
You know, Goodwill Games champ, all these different things. One of the things I'm almost too analytical. Like, if I won 3 state titles, I'm like, well, I can only win 2 national titles, which is ludicrous. But, you know, the outside-inside ship thing I love. So you were successful in high school, state champion in Pennsylvania. But to jump from 1 state championship to 3 natties and losing to Monday and then beating him 2 weeks later, how'd you convince yourself, I'm going to win this match when it counts?
Yeah, I think, one, leaders are readers and readers are leaders. And when you read about other champions, it's like cheating. Because you get to hear their stories. You get to hear when they wanted to quit, when they wanted to give up. And it helps you navigate your future. Not to mention, I got beat up a lot. I have 15 other brothers and sisters, so there's like 9 boys, 7 girls. 5 of us, we have the record for the most NCAA All-Americans. There's 5 of us that's All-Americans. So when I was going off to college, one of the goals was, man, get your degree, and it would be incredible if you won a national championship, because none of my brothers had won an NCAA title.
But you had a brother that made the Olympic team at like 17,
16,
is that right?
going on 17. The dude was a prodigy.
I wasn't even shaving at 16.
And he would, would not give me a take. It would not give me a takedown. I remember crying. And I was running after him, and I was like, I'm going to take you down. And then my other brother, Joe, was in there, and he would go, tell him, Joe, I'm not going to let him take me down. You know, and I'd run, and he didn't. But, man, that probably shaped me. I mean, it made
you tough.
And my brother, Joe, if I did a move wrong, he would kind of smack me under the butt, under the thigh. So, but, yeah, my brothers and what they did, their stories really strengthened me for my future, right? So I learned how to set goals. I learned how to write them down and then to chase them. I always say, just like a biblical principle, you speak the end of a thing at the beginning, back up off of that and develop a strategy that will take you there. And so, yeah, that was a goal. Hey, outwork everybody at Iowa State and definitely go after that national championship, and that's what I did. That was my focus. Go to class, you couldn't stop me. Go to wrestling practice, you couldn't stop me because I had a goal, and I would let nothing keep me from that. So I always say one of my maxims is have a yes to where you're going, and let the yes be so excited about the yes that it produces a no on the inside with conviction. And here's what yes means, Dave.
We're getting facts over here.
We still getting facts.
The yes is you expecting success. The no is nearing objective. So every time somebody said, hey, let's party, no. It got me closer to my goal. Hey, let's get high. No. Hey,
you're
let's
making
get practice.
sacrifices.
Yeah, let's get practice. No. And every no got me closer to my yes.
It's awesome.
It's almost like he should be a minister or something.
I'm writing all this down. I have to go back and make good notes.
You're recording this,
I
right?
am
We go back
absolutely
and do it later.
recording, streaming. It's all yes. We're definitely capturing this.
Yeah. So
that's really what
Yeah.
helped. And then you just go from there. You set the goals. I would also say to the young guys, again, readers are leaders, leaders are readers, and then as many times as you rep your skill level from the neck down, you should almost double the neck reps up.
we were talking to Coach about that because obviously we're here at the big, you're in town for the Big 12.
Yes,
We're
yes.
night before. And, some people watch this later just to listen to the wisdom, but the timing of it. But, that's what they're saying. Like, listen, most of these guys are a takedown or two apart,
Yes.
And it's just who's going to figure out a way to get it done, who believes in themselves, stuff like that. That brings me to the David Carr, Keegan O'Toole rivalry. And I know how much you respect Keegan. Keegan's going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys will hug it out on the floor. I'm
Yeah.
sure him and David would hug it out on the
They're
floor.
buddies, great
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. And they both handled winning with grace and
Yes.
losing with dignity, and the
Yeah.
other one didn't party on the other. Like, when David got excited, he's just excited to beat an athlete that good.
Yes.
But there was no disrespect either
No,
way.
not even close.
So, in a series like that, how much adjustments are made? Because, like, if you, and kind of combine that, there's a scenario here where in Oklahoma high school, one kid went 0-3 and then won the one in the state finals. But they're both nationally ranked kids. They're ranked like 7
Wow.
and 10 in the country.
Wow.
And mad respect to both of them. But I know this, like, if you beat me, I'm probably going to spend more time making adjustments than you are.
Yeah, and that's a nice word. I like the word adjustment. And, you want to be good. You could fail at doing something, but that doesn't make you a failure.
You failed at a task, not
Yes,
at life.
that's right. So
Yeah.
you, again, never personalize your failure. And it helps you make the adjustments that you need to make. And you just work on getting better and getting ready to go out and compete harder, right?
Yeah.
But smarter before the harder, right? And that's where the strategies come in, the adjustments. Keegan would use a move he learned from David and then use it on David. David would learn a move from Keegan and use it on Keegan. I mean, these guys really were great at doing what they do and then trying to be the best.
Well, they'd
And you
each have one
to
more
appreciate that.
national title if it wasn't for the other guy. Like, for sure. I mean, it's just math.
Yeah.
Like, it's just math. I was good. I got 34 on my ACT in math. That's just math. I mean, that's the truth,
That's
though, right?
funny. Yeah.
David would have been. I will tell people this. So my mom. Here's when my mom's funny, because I'm like, she goes, David, are you rooting for? I'm like, Mom, I can't root for anybody. USA Wrestling, I just wear my charity gear to the event. I have gear from all you guys. I can't wear
Right.
any of it. Like, even if I put the logos and everything, somebody would be mad it's not on the front or the back or
Right.
whatever. But when your son lost, I know the year he took third, and he lost in the round of 16. My mom goes, do you have Nate's number? I said, yeah. And she goes, I'm going to text him.
Yeah,
And
she did a beautiful job. Yeah.
so, but what I know you guys have in common, there's two things. You're both parents and faith.
Yes.
And when things go wrong, you tend to, like, why me? I didn't deserve that. Not you, but people in
Right.
general, we all tend to do that.
Right.
And, I never asked first of all, I should not be fact-checking my mom on anything. If anything, it's the other way around. but like, she doesn't break down wrestling the way I do, but in terms of being a person and just genuinely loving people and rooting for people, and I texted her, I'm like, David beat Takatani, and she goes, oh my God, but can you tell me just not necessarily about that interaction, but just in general about how faith, how you, David, whoever, how you guys are using this to not get too high in wins, not feel yourself, not get arrogant, and then when losses happen, to put them in the appropriate box.
Yeah, I think Scripture's going to say, whatever you do, both word and deed, do it to the glory and the honor of God. And then when you think about strategy and you think about winning, I think that I hated losing in a season. And I just took that thought. I couldn't imagine not having my faith and belief in Jesus Christ and be lost for all of eternity.
No.
So
that's heavy, man. It's heavy and legit.
It is, but that's how I
heavy
look
in
at
the
it.
best way.
Yeah, because Paul says in like 1 Corinthians 9:23, he said, all of you've been to the stadium for the Olympic Games and all run, but only one wins. And then he pauses and says, run to win. And he just talked about how the athletes pursued a perishable crown.
Wow.
They gave their all for a perishable crown.
Show this to your
And so
son, right?
Paul is saying, but we pursue an imperishable crown. I'm in 6 Hall of Fame, got a lot of trophies, but one day God is giving out crowns that will never, ever fade. So we really look at it, how can we win and impact, those for all of eternity?
Well, awesome. And to go, like you mentioned, like my mom and dad, great people. It has nothing to do with whether my mom won Teacher of the Year, how many dual meet victories my dad had, any of that stuff. It's like they are people that want to make the world a better place and live by example and are willing to share their testimony and all those sort of things.
And Dave, just hearing you say that, just think as a parent, one of the things that you can take beyond this world is your children that believe and have the same faith that you have. I remember speaking at my dad's homegoing, that's what we call it, his funeral homegoing.
Yeah.
And when I spoke, I said, you know what, I don't grieve my dad. I'm really excited because my dad is in my future.
Normally, if you get one good quote in 20 minutes, like you did good. Like I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna rewind this. This has been. I knew you'd be great.
Yeah.
And also the timing was good, right? You're here. David just won. Yeah. We owe you $7 for an Uber, but besides that, it's good. But I mean, like, you root for certain people, right? It was interesting. I text my dad and I go, hey, David beat Takatani. And he goes, I'm going to watch the match tomorrow. And he watched the match. And then one of the best things, probably the best gift I ever bought my dad in my life was a Flow account. Like, because now he's on there all the time,
that's funny.
And he's like seeing the pictures and all this stuff comes up. And I said, there's a lot of people talking about Takatani afterwards. And he goes, that's culturally how it's supposed to be. And he goes, you win with honor, lose with dignity. And
Awesome.
he goes, and David won with honor. He goes, you could tell he was excited, but he also respected his opponent.
Yes.
Wasn't going to dunk on him, like that kind of thing.
No.
And I feel like both those young men have such composure, such grace. And the perishable versus imperishable will probably be the thing. I'm going to go back and watch all this, but that's the one thing. Like when I go and talk to people later on tonight, we'll say it's at the bingo parlor, not at the pub. Okay, but when they're going to say like, how was it? I'm like, man, like there's levels to thinking, and I think. Like, if David loses that match late, like if Takatani gets a takedown in 2 laces and loses, okay, he wrestled the identical match for hypothetically 5 minutes and 50 seconds, right? That could happen in the last 10 seconds.
For sure, 100%.
And I think you just treat it the same way. Say, hey, we got to worry about those. We got to focus on those last 10 seconds not happening again, right?
Yeah, because just think about it. When you have that type of attitude, it's able to get up again. I mean, again, what makes champions is the ability not to personalize their failure. Edison had a lot of things that didn't work, but he said I learned just as much from what didn't work as what works. But he always kept his goal on producing the light.
Yeah.
Man, that is cool. So you've got to be able to bounce back and realize, like I would lose to somebody, and before I left the mat, I already knew what I was going to do the next time I wrestled him.
Well, the Kenny Monday thing is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to win when I wrestle this guy again. I haven't even left the mat. What an attitude! What an attitude! You beat me, right? And I already know the next time I wrestle you, I can win. That's a good attitude, and I think that's what he was doing.
Yeah, I think
you know.
Yeah. The only thing I beat Nate in is he did say I have a cooler last name.
American Niles, Tony. Yeah. I love the name.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
Well, I think we
so those a couple
Yes,
things.
Jeremy.
Yeah, so your son, awesome dude, great kid. And for those that know me and kind of follow me, like Dave has been the guy that I've been fortunate enough to work the last couple of NCAAs, got to hang out and watch him, and I had a nice conversation with him last year just before during the tournament. So he's a great kid.
Thank you.
You've done very well, sir, and phenomenal
I
wrestler.
glory to God.
I texted him yesterday. I go, I got a guest. We got our next one's coming on in 2 minutes. Yeah, but I said I got a guest. He goes, who you got? I go, Nate Carr. He goes, get out of here.
And I've been sitting over here and shouting like the whole
calling
time.
in favors, man.
Dude, they're just phenomenal. Big thanks to Dave. I appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah, thanks for you guys inviting me. And Dave's a good kid. He listens. He's well.
A great kid.
Yeah.
You know, and
Future's bright.
gotta like that. I like that for him. And he's a great ambassador for Christ. And all my kids just think he's He's the baby of 7. So.
Wow.
Good luck this weekend. I'll
Thanks
see you on
a
the
lot,
floor
Dave.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Jeremy.
I'm gonna walk you out and get you an Uber. I think
No,
Joe.
he's going to get the shuttle.
I'll just
He's
catch
going
the
to call the
shuttle.
hotel shuttle.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can go get you an Uber. Yeah, let's
All right,
do
go
it.
get an
Let's
Uber.
do it.
We'll
Yeah,
go
let's
grab
do
Joe.
it. Yeah.
We'll grab
So,
Joe Smith. Tell
awesome.
Joe he can come over here and grab this headset.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Nate.
Yep.
Appreciate
Be right
you,
back.
man. That was awesome. Thank you.